Basically, so for a method, we would like to modularize, okay, some subtasks in a big project. Okay, that is a very important concept. So also we have learned for our method. So we need a format is, so you have public, private, you have the type of the method. Okay, we have void or value returning method. We also have name of the method. We have arguments. Okay, for arguments, we need a pair of parentheses. So even though it's empty, we need it. We need it. So inside the pair of parentheses, so we need some parameters for definition of the method. When you call the method, we need to put some arguments, okay? So I have explained last time, so let's go over the concept again, okay? Concept again. So when we have call a method, right? So we have a variable, okay? In the lectures, let's see the example. So for example, when we want to call the method, this is a display value, decimal value. So we need a decimal number for the argument, So for example, you can see that this is display value 3, right? Basically put a number in the argument. So similarly, if we declare a variable x equals 3, then call x in the display value method. So now x is used as an argument. So one, you want to understand the concept, right? For example, if x is declared in the memory in some address, is the location of x. So when x is passed to the argument, okay, we call the method display value. We put x, right, in the pair of parentheses. We would like to pass x to the method. When we pass x to the method, so we first copy x. We have a copy of x. We have x underline, right? We have underline. This is a copy of x. So with the copy of x, we would like to pass the copy of x to the method. Okay, here basically when we do display value x, we first make a copy of x, then pass this copy to the display value method. So it means this x underline, so that copy is temporary. So when we call the method, this copy is created. Okay, when we call the method, it is created. Then we execute all the statements inside the method. For example, in this example, display value, we have only one line of a statement, message box.show. Okay, so the one C# execute this line of statement, so C# will plug in, right, the copy of x as the decimal variable value, display the message. When we finish all the statements inside this method, so it's done. In this case, this temporary copy will be deleted. It means, so the memory in this location here will be free. Okay, will be free, and x underline will be deleted. Okay, that is the logic when we want to use x as the argument, However, we have also learned how we can pass arguments by reference. Okay, by reference. So in this case, we would like to use the keyword ref. When we use ref, so we basically would like to pass the original variable, not the copy, the original variable to C#. Okay, to C#. So that is, for example, in this example, int my var equals 99, set to 0, ref my var. So in this case, so my var is here, is this original x, okay, or is this original x. So x underline is the copy, so which will be called if we have no ref, right? But when we have ref, we don't have this x on the line. Instead, C# will pass this original variable, my var, to the method set to 0. Okay, to the method set to 0. So in this case, the original variable, my var, will be passed to the method set to 0. You can see that inside this method, so there is only one line of statement, which is number equal to 0. You see, number is the argument, right? Is argument. It means if we don't have the ref keyword, we pass a copy to the method. So for this statement, let's assume we don't have ref. If we set number equal to 0, this copy will be set to 0, not the original variable. Okay, this copy will be set to 0. So once C# finishes the execution of the method, the copy will be deleted. You see, so for any change we make on the variable number, okay, number here, so all the manipulations, all the executions will be on the variable what? On the variable copy, the copy of the variable. So any changes will not have any impact on the original variable my var. It means when we finish, the original variable is the same. There is no change. Okay, no change. However, when we use the keyword ref, okay, keyword ref, so we have no copy. We just pass the original argument to the method, or to the method. So in this example, if we pass the original variable to the arguments, inside the statement number equal to 0, it means we would like to set the argument, the passed argument, to 0. In this case, the original variable, my var, will be set to 0. Okay, you have to be very clear about this concept. In the future, if you work on big project, either in financial analysis or in data analytics, in all kinds of coding tasks, you need to write a lot of different methods. So sometimes we call those methods functions. Sometimes we call those methods functions. So you have to write all kinds of methods. In this case, right, you have to be very clear whether we would like to pass a copy, or we would like to pass the original variable to the method. Okay, that is very important because sometimes you do not want to change the value of the original variable. You want to keep it the same, unchanged. So in this case, you pass a copy. Sometimes you want to pass the original variable because inside the method, sometimes you need to change the value of the argument. Okay, with different algorithms, sometimes you need to change the arguments. In this case, you need to pass the original variable to the method. You see here we have ref, okay, in C#, which is a clear keyword. So in the future, when you want to study other advanced programming languages, such as C++, okay? So more abstract concepts, for example, like pointers, will be used to deal with this issue, okay? Those concepts will be more abstract, which is not in the scope of this course, okay? In this course, we want to emphasize basic, important coding concepts. Here, you need to understand, so we have two options to pass arguments. The first option is to pass a copy, okay? In this case, we would like to use a copy and we do not want to change the value of the original variable. The second option is to pass the original variable. In this case, we would like to make some changes to the original variable. Any change we make in the method will be kept in the original variable. Okay, these are two important concepts in coding. You see, we learned this concept last time. So I try to emphasize it this week because it is an abstract concept, to be honest. So you have to understand this this concept. Okay, this concept. Okay. So this is passive argument as a reference. We also have output parameters. Okay, output parameters. So last time we were here, value returning methods. So for void type of method, okay, usually we use it, for example, to output some message or to clear some input areas, okay? We perform some tasks. When we finish, we're done, okay? There is no output or returning value. The second type is the most frequently used type, which is value returning methods, okay? In this method, we will have a return value. For example, we can calculate, right, the maximum or minimum of two numbers, then return the maximum or the minimum of the arguments. So in this case, we have a returned value, which is the maximum or minimum number. So for example, in .NET framework, we have some kind of built-in value returning methods. For this one, we have int number equals int parse, right? We have int parse, decimal parse, double parse. So in this case, the input is a string 100 double quote, which is a string. So when we use int.parse, so the input is a string, there is an output, which is a returned value. So we would like to transform the string 100 to a number. In this case, a int number, the whole number 100. Okay, 100. So this is one example about value returning method, the value returning method. So when you try to build your own value returning methods, so this is the format, okay? The format is very similar, to be honest, almost the same, right? As the format of a void method. We still have access modifier, public or private, as I mentioned. Most of the time, we would like to use private, okay? Because if you use public, it means this method can be used in multiple different classes, okay? In this course, most of the time, except last assignment, maybe a little bit complicated. For all the other assignments, okay, labs, so we only have one form. It means we only have one class, the form class, okay? So in this case, we would like to use private. The second thing is data type. Because we have a returned value, so we cannot use the keyword void. Instead, we would like to use int, decimal, double, string, bool, right? We use these kind of keywords. Then we have method name. I still want to remind you again, we would like to follow Pascal case, okay? For Pascal case, all the words will start with a capital letter. For like control or variable name convention, we are following camel case. Camel case, the first word will start with a small letter. Starting from the second word, these words will start with a capital letter, okay? So for method name, we are following Pascal case. Then you need a pair of parentheses. So as I mentioned last week, sometimes if you do not have any parameter, it means, so when you call the method, you do not need to have any arguments. So even in this case, you need an empty pair of parentheses. It means you have a pair of parentheses, nothing inside. Okay, nothing inside. But you also can also have a list of parameters. So inside this pair of curly braces, which is the body of the method, you have a lot of different statements. You have variety of statements, but remember, the last statement will be a return statement. You have to have a returned value. Okay, for example, return a variable x, or return the sum of two variables x plus y. If you forget to have this return statement, okay, return statement, in a value returning method definition, if you forget about it, C# will give you an error, okay? C# will tell you there is an error, okay, there is an error, okay? So this is the format, the general form of value returning methods, okay, value returning methods. So there must be a return statement inside the method that is used to return a value to the statement that called the method, okay? For example, private int sum, int sum1, num1, num2, it will return num1 plus num2, okay? Num1 plus num2. So you can see that the return value can be an expression. So in this case, it is the sum of two different int variables. So we notice that the data type of the returned value and the method's data type must match. In the above example, the method is an int method, so it can only return an int value. For example, if you write a code like this, okay? Let's write a code, okay? So private, we have int, right? Private int sum. So we have sum int num1, num2, right? But inside this, sorry, the private has to be small letter. So inside the body of the method, if you declare decimal x equals 5.5m, right? You do this, and you want to return x. Okay, we want to return x. If this is the definition of the method, let me put. So if this is definition of the method sum, then there is an error. Okay, there is an error. So the error is the problem is the type of sum is int, right? But the returned value is decimal, right? So int variable, or in this case method, okay, int method cannot, an int method cannot return a decimal number, okay? So it is not consistent. We have learned this concept before. We have learned, so for int variable, it cannot hold what? Decimal or double. But for decimal variable, it can hold what? Both int and decimal, but it cannot be consistent with double. So for the double variable, it can be consistent with int and double values, but it is inconsistent with decimal. Okay, you have to be very clear about the concepts. Okay, the concepts. So in the exam, for example, sometimes you have a couple of questions, several questions. So which will ask you to figure out potential errors, right, in the method. So in this case, so you have to be clear about these basic concepts. Okay, these basic concepts. So notice that data type of the return value and method data type must match. Okay, that is an important concept. For example, if you put the type of the method to be string, you have to return a string. If you return a number, then there is an error. Okay, you have to remember the returned value has to be consistent with the type of the method. Okay, the type of the method. So there are some examples. The first one is int type. Okay, you have private int. You see sum, right? Sum starts with a capital S. It means we are following Pascal case. Okay, Pascal case. All words will start with a capital letter. So we have two arguments. So we are going to return num1 plus num2. Okay, num1 plus num2. So you can also write the method in this way, right? We have private int sum num1, num2. Okay, private has to be right. So in the example, we return num1 plus num2 directly. You can also do I declare int x equals num1 plus num2. Then we have return x. Okay, return x. All words has to be start with small letter. Okay. So okay, simple. For example, in this case, you just want the sum of two variables. You can return the sum directly. You have a return expression, right? Num1 plus num2 for the keyword return expression. Sometimes in a method, when things are complicated, right? Things are complicated, you may want to declare a variable first, okay? Then return that variable, because if you have a lot of statements inside the method, okay, inside the method, you do want to have a variable which can track the returned value, okay, which can track the returned value. It means when you call the method, okay, all we find, so the return value is not fully correct, it is wrong. We want to find out what's going on there. Because you have a target variable, it will be easier for you to figure out the potential issue, okay? So on the other hand, if you have an expression, right? Expression. For example, you have an expression like this one, num1 plus num2, right? When you call the method, because things are complicated, it's possible that, it's quite possible actually, it's quite possible that the return value is not correct, okay? So it is not correct. You want to figure out what's going on there, because there are multiple variables, right? Multiple variables involved in this expression. In this example, both num1 and num2 are involved in this example. You have to track both variables because you don't know which one has a problem. Maybe both are wrong, okay? Maybe one of them wrong. You have to track both variables. So in this case, things are more complicated. You may think about, oh, I'm smart. I can, for this example, I can track both num1 and num2 without any problem. But in practice, okay, things are very complicated. You have a lot of lines of statements. So it will take a long time for you to read all the statements. And you need to spend a lot of effort in understanding the code. So in this case, you do want to make things simple, okay? Easy, simple. It can simplify the task, okay, the coding task. So also we can have a double type. So for a double type, So we have both arguments as double. We can return num1 plus num2, okay? So we can also be decimal, private decimal, sum, decimal num1, decimal num2. We have return num1 plus num2, okay? Plus num1 plus num2. So when we finish this example, you may have a question. So the question is, so in these examples, we try to define the sum of two numbers, okay? Sum of two numbers, okay? So can we use the sum of two numbers to calculate sum of three numbers or sum of four numbers? Or when we would like to calculate the sum of two or three numbers, we have to define another method, okay? Sure, of course, you can define a method, for example. So we would like to calculate the sum of three int variables, okay? So we can do this, okay, int. So sum of three, right? Let's follow Pascal method, sum of three. So we can do int sum, int num1, int num2, int num3, okay? We have this. You see, when I try to teach the lecture, I type in Word. So in the exam, because of the special situation in this semester, so in the exam you have to type for the essay question for the code. So when you type, okay, you need to be careful, okay, to be careful. So try to avoid possible mistakes, okay, possible mistakes. So we have private int sum of three, okay? You can do return num1 plus num2 plus num3, okay? That is correct, okay? That is correct. But you see, if we want to sum four numbers, five numbers, we need to define a different method for each sum. So that will be redundant intuitively. So the answer is no, we do not need to define a different methods for each different sum, right? For example, let's assume, right, this is the definition of sum of two numbers. This is the definition of sum of three numbers. Actually, we don't need that, right? We don't need a different definition of sum of three method. If we would like to sum, right? For example, in the code, we have int A, B, C, right? We have three variables A, B, C. We have declared before, right? So when we want to calculate the sum of the three numbers, okay, the sum of the three numbers, we can just use the sum, the method, which can calculate sum of two numbers. How can we do that? We can do this, right? We can do, if we declare, so assume we have declared int ABC, right? X, okay? So we want to calculate the sum of A, B, and C and assign its value to X, okay? So in this case, we can do X equals, okay? Sum, okay? In the sum, because in the definition of the method sum, we can only deal with two numbers. We can only deal with two numbers. So we need two arguments inside, but we have to calculate the sum of three numbers. So we can do the first one will be sum A and B, right? Because if we call sum A and B, we will get a returned value. The returned value will be a int number, okay? So we will use the returned value as the first argument, okay? This is not a straightforward concept. Instead, it is some kind of abstract, okay? So we put a core of a method as an argument. Okay, in this case, sum A and B. So sum A and B, that core will give us a int number. Okay, then we put the second argument to be C. Okay, you can see that if we do this, right, we can use the method which can calculate sum of two variables to calculate sum of three numbers, right? Sum of three numbers. Similarly, if you want to calculate sum of four numbers, right? So we have ABCX. You can do what? You can do sum, right? You will put the sum of ABC first, right? ABC, which is this, right? Which is this, right? And X, okay, X. So with this core of sum method, we can calculate sum of four different int numbers. The sum of four different int numbers, okay, int numbers. You see, we use the definition, the method which can calculate sum of two numbers to calculate sum of any numbers. But you can see that when we want to calculate more and more numbers, so the expression will become more complicated, okay, complicated, which is hard to manage, right? Hard to manage, right? So in Excel, right? In Excel, we can sum any number, right? We can use Excel. Right, this is Excel, okay? So you see that we have, for example, I got 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 7, 8, right? I have 10 numbers, right? I would like to calculate the sum, right? So in Excel, you know that we can do this. So it equals sum, you see, right? Sum, you see, there are a bunch of predefined. It is also a method inside Excel, okay? Similarly, you need a pair of parentheses, okay? Pair of parentheses. So in Excel, so it has made the method to be easy to use. You see, for some method, you can put any number, put any number of arguments inside, okay? The definition is robust, okay? So in this case, we can put 1 to 10, right? A1 to A10, A1 to A10 inside this pair of parentheses as the arguments. So you push enter, you see the sum is 49, okay, 49. So you may have used this kind of thing in Excel for multiple times, but this time, when you learn C#, you learn the method, you see. So here it is almost the same, right? As a concept we learned in this chapter, okay? We have, so a method in Excel, so we have all capital letters, okay? And we have a pair of parentheses. Inside this pair of parentheses, we have arguments, okay? We have arguments. The only difference is, so in Excel, it has built the method in a user-friendly way. You can see that we can put any number, a range of cells, or separate cells as the argument. For example, we can do this, right? It is A1. I want to calculate A1, A4, A8, right? We put 3. Okay, I calculate it is 13. Okay, I can also do A7, right? I put 4. So Excel can also calculate the sum of these 4 numbers. So the definition of the method sum in Excel has been built in a very user-friendly way. Okay, user-friendly way. In the lecture slides, okay, in the method, in this slide, we can only calculate sum of 2 numbers, okay? So it is simple, it is not robust, but it is similar, right? Quite similar. It can calculate sum of 2 numbers. if we want to calculate the sum of 3 numbers, 4 numbers, 5 numbers, we can use this method to calculate, right? To calculate sum of any numbers, okay? I use this example combined with Excel to tell you, right? So in the future, if you would like to be a professional guy in data science, okay? Data science, which will be a very nice job for most people. You would like to be professional in data science, okay? Data science. So sometimes you have to build, or most of the time, you have to write different kinds of methods, okay? Different kinds of methods. In this lecture and last week, we learn basic concepts, okay? We try to keep things simple. But in the future, when you become more professional, you will try to build robust, user-friendly, and nice definition of the method, okay? So you will observe more kind of these things while you take advanced courses in our department, such as data mining or statistical data mining. Because in those courses, so for each classic data mining or data mining algorithm, you will learn the basic concept first, okay? Then you will learn some existing packages which you can use to call these algorithms. It means you do not need to write this algorithm by yourself from scratch. Okay, you don't need to do that. Instead, you can download these algorithms from internet. Okay, then call these methods on your laptop or on your computer without any raw code. You can just use the method. You just need to set up the arguments. Okay, the arguments. So when you want to build these kind of things, so you need to keep things user-friendly and robust. Okay, for example, you can see in this Excel, right? It can put any number of arguments as the input. Okay, as the input. Okay. So this is what I would like to emphasize. Okay, what I would like to emphasize. So you see that. So starting from when we finish the midterm exam, I try to teach very slow because when I observe the performance of the whole class, I can see that more and more students cannot attend the lecture. Okay, because I check their attendance in each lecture. More and more students cannot attend the lecture. So more and more students will lose track of the lecture slides. That is not good, okay, for this course. That happens in every semester, okay, in every semester, which is bad. To be honest, it is bad. But because we do not have a fun class, instead, it is a technical class. I understand it is not easy, okay? So as I commented last time, so hang in there, do not give up, or do not give up, okay? Try to learn the materials, try to hang in for the last. I think we still have 4 more chapters if we think we finish chapter 6, okay? To learn a lot of things, okay? Because this is the first course for you to step in data science, business analytics. Otherwise, so you will have a degree with business analytics in the degree name, but you learn nothing from it, okay? Which is bad, okay? Which is bad. So based on the feedback we got from our previous students, okay, previous students. So one students have some technical skills such as coding, C#, or data science algorithm skills. They become much more popular on the market, okay, on the market. So I believe for most of you, you want to be popular, okay? You want to be popular on the market. So this is a start, okay? As emphasized, when you step into this area, this course is a start, okay? In the future, you will learn a bunch of different other courses. I can tell you, Each of them is also technical, okay? As a professor, we try to make things easier. Sometimes we try to show you some examples. However, the materials are technical, okay? You will not have any case study. You will have less amount of discussion, okay? You will have less amount of group work, okay? Instead, you have to learn how to code. You have to learn how to use packages to call algorithms. You have to learn how to analyze data sets, okay? So for those courses, most of them or all of them, they are technical. In order to step into this area, you have to get familiar or get used to this learning style, okay, learning style. It is different from a lot of courses in business school, okay? You may have observed in business school. So a lot of courses, they are subjective. You will see stories, you will learn cases, okay? So you will also learn fun stuff. Sometimes you see a video, sometimes you see a story, okay? I have also taught those courses before. I know what's going on. Students will have a great time, to be honest, in the lecture. So after lecture, we have essay or subjective, qualitative, let me use the term, non-technical homework. So we try to explain their understanding about the case, okay? But when you finish the course, you will not learn too many skills, technical skills, okay? I admit those qualitative skills, business skills are useful, are important. But in nowadays, okay, so students or employ companies, they request more technical skills from the students, okay? Remember, this is the market. So we try to teach students, give students more courses in technical data analytics, not because we want to challenge you. It is because of the market. We do want all our students to be successful on the market, okay? This is why you can see that now we try to give more and more these kind of courses in the program, I try to see these things because I try to keep you motivated. I have observed, so let's see. For example, for today's lecture, let's see how many people are there, okay? So we have 18. It's around 50% of the total number of students, okay? So which is not good because for the other students, so they may think about they will catch up with the video later, but most of the time they will get lost, okay, without any catch up, okay? They will get lost. It is bad for students who try to be competitive on the market. Hang in there, don't lose motivation. That is very, very important, okay? That is very, very important. So let's continue with our lecture materials, okay? So we can also return values to variables. For example, we want to calculate the sum of the two variables num1 and num2. So we can return num1 plus num2, okay? So we have int combined age equals num user age and friend age, okay? So the key idea you want to learn here is, so we declare a int variable combined age. And we call the method sum with two arguments, user age and friend age. In the definition of the method sum, we return sum of these two input arguments. So it will return user age plus friend age, and we will assign the return value to the new declared variable combined age, okay? Combined age. So this is similar as the example I have used here, right? X equals sum A, B, and C, right? So in this case, a value returning method returns a value with specific type. However, the method no longer keeps the value once it is returned. Okay, it means one, for example, in some once when you call the method, right? When you call the method, so C# will go there. When it is done, C# will eliminate anything related to this call. That's why you have to put one variable, and you need the returned value to be assigned to this variable. Okay, you can declare a variable in the calling code to hold the return value to use the value over and over again, because in this case, the return value will be put in the combined age variable. In the future, if you need to use this return value, you can just use the variable combined age. Otherwise, it is gone. Okay, otherwise it is gone. After execution, the value is kept in combined age variable. Okay, in combined age variable. So this is an example about value returning method. Okay, value returning method. So in this example, we have a button which is private void calculate button. Okay, click. This is an event handler for the button calculate button. Calculate button. You see, so for this button, when we name the button, right? So it is for following the camel case. Okay. So we first declare a decimal variable sales. Then sales equal decimal parse. Sales text box dot text. Okay. You see that sales text box dot text. So this will give us a string value from the text property. Because it is a string type number, a string type value, we have to use decimal.parse method to transform the string value to a number, to a decimal value. So sales will be what? Will be a decimal number. You see, decimal.parse is a built-in method which can transform string to decimal numbers, right? And we call the method decimal.parse, and we put the returned value to the declared variable sales. It means when we finish the call of the method decimal.parse, the return value is there, sales. In the future, if we would like to use the return value, we can just refer to the variable sales. Okay, sales. So in the next line of statement, we have commission label dot text equal calculate. We have an input sales. Okay, you see this is a complicated statement. We have calculate commission. So the argument is sales, but we also call a dot to string, and we have option C. Okay, what is that? We first go to the definition of calculate commission. Okay, so for calculate commission, so we have private decimal. Okay, access modifier private, type decimal, name of the method, calculate commission. So for the parameter, we need one parameter, decimal sales amount. Okay, sales amount. Let's go inside. Go inside the method. So in big picture, right, when you see the big picture inside the method, what we can observe is what? It is if, else, right? We have if, else, if statement, okay, which we have learned before the midterm, okay, if, else, if. So let's see what's going on there. So inside the method, right, the first condition is sales amount less than 1000 M. We see in this case, we are comparing a decimal with a decimal, okay? A decimal with a decimal. So to be professional in computer programming, you have to pay attention to these small things, right? So because in this case, we deal with decimal numbers, right? So everything else, they have to be decimal, right? To be decimal. So if sales amount is less than 1000 M, so we return what? 0M. Okay, 0M. So in this case, because return value is decimal, right? So calculate commission decimal is the type of the method. If you do not write M, it may also be okay because int value can be consistent to decimal method, okay? However, in order to use good programming style, you try to be accurate, to be consistent, you return 0M. It means we are return a decimal number. Else, it means sales amount is not less than 1000. It is no less than 1000 if sales amount is less or equal than 2000. So in this case, it is between 1000 to 2000. So the method will return what? 0.15M times sales amount. Okay, 15% of the commission. If sales amount is else means sales amount is above 2000, so the method will return 20%, right? 0.2M times sales amount, sales amount. So one thing you can observe from this definition, from the body of this method is what? It is in the body of the method, we can observe multiple lines of return value, right? You see, in this the calculate commission method, we have 3 different return values. So in principle, for each value returning method, you can only have one line, one return value. Why? Here we can have 3. Return 0, return 0.15M times sales amount. Return 0.2M times sales amount. Why we have this kind of things? So it is because we are using if else if, right? So in this case, no matter, right, no matter what is the input value of sales amount, okay? So for any input value of sales amount, only one case, okay? Here we have 3 cases, less than 1000, between 1000 and 2000, above 2000, only one case will be executed. Okay, that is the reason, because even though we have 3 lines of statements for returning value, but one for any input parameter, only one case will happen. The other 2 cases will not be active for any call of the method, okay? It means when we call the method, only one of the 3 cases will be true. For example, if sales amount, right? For example, if we do this, right? If we do calculate, I have to follow Pascal case, okay? Calculate, right? Calculate commission, 2000, no, so 700 M, right? If this is a core of the method, in this case, the argument is 700. So if you plug in sales amount equals 700, it will be the first case, okay? It means the second case, sales amount is above 1000, but no more than 2000. Or the third case, sales amount is above 2000. Those 2 cases will not happen. Only the first case, sales amount less than 1000, will be true. So it will return 0M, okay? So only one of the returned statements will be executed. Or in the second example, if we do calculate commission, so equals 1500 M. So in this case, Sales amount less than 1,000, that condition is false. We go to else if sales amount is less than 2,000, it is between 1,000 and 2,000. It is true, right? So in the second case, the second return will be executed. The other two, return 0m, return 0.2m times sales amount will not be true. It means, so we only execute the second return statement. But if we change the execution to be 2,500, then the third case will be true, which is above 2,000. The other two cases, less than 1,000, between 1,000 and 2,000 will not be true. So the third return statement, return 2.m times sales amount, will be executed. Okay, I try to explain this logic because when you write your code, remember you can have multiple lines of return statements. It's okay, like this example. But in of your method, only one of the return statement will be activated. Okay, only one is true. So you cannot have two lines of return value to be true at the same time. Okay, so when you have this, C# may not tell you an error. Okay, maybe a warning, but not an error. But only the first return statement will be executed. Okay, the other one will be ignored. Okay, ignored. Okay. So that is one example about value returning method. Okay, value returning method. So another type is Boolean methods. Okay, Boolean method. So a Boolean method returns either true or false. So in other languages, for example, in MATLAB, in R, right? So true or false, sometimes you can also use 1 or 0. With 1 or 0, it is equivalent to true or false, okay? And you can use such a method to test the truth of a condition. So in this case, private bool is even, int number. So we declare a bool variable, number is even. You see, for the method, right? The name follows Pascal case. So is starts with a capital I, okay? However, for the bool variable, number is even. For a variable, we would like to use what? Camel case. Camel case. So in this case, the first word, number, will start with a small letter. The second word is, and the third word even. These two words start with a capital letter, okay? So for the first one, if number modulus. So what is modulus? Let's recall your memory. Modulus is, so we use number divided by 2. So number divided by 2, modulus 2 is the remainder. For example, if number is, right? If number is 14, right? Number equals 14. If number equals 14, so modulus 2, it is 0, because 7 divided by 2 is 7. The remainder is 0. It is 0. But if number equals 15, right? Number modulus 2 will equal to 1, okay? So 15 divided by 2, 7 with remainder equals 1, okay? With remainder equals 1, okay? So if number modulus equals 2 equals 0, number is even is true because there is no remainder. 1, we use number divided by 2. Else, it means because there are only two possible cases, 0 and 1, right? Else means 1, the remainder, it is 1, okay? Else means the remainder is 1, right? Number is even equals false. In this case, we have true and false. So we return number is even, okay? Number is even, okay? So this is one way to declare this method, okay? In practice, okay, in practice, you can also declare the method in the following way, okay? So we need private bool, okay? is even. Okay, have int number, right? That is the method. So I will not use the format as the one used in the slides. Okay, I will try to use something different. Okay, so I can do this if number modulus 2 go to 0. Remember, for expression condition, you need two equal signs. Okay, equal signs. Be careful about these basic concepts. Okay. So if number modulus 2 equal to 0, we have I can do this, return true. Okay, I do this directly. I do not use a variable, predefined variable. Bool number is even. Instead, if number modulus 2 equal to 0, I will return true directly. Then in the else case, right, else, so I can do return false. Okay, let's make the R to be lowercase. Okay. This is also correct. In this case, I have two return statements, but because I use if else, only one return statement will be executed, will be active. Either number is even, modulus 2 equal to 0, return true value, else it means number modulus 2 equal to 1, else means it will return false. Okay, it is also a correct definition of the bool method is even. Okay, is even. Okay, is even. So with the code, an int value assigned to the number parameter will be evaluated by the if-else statement. The return statement will be returned either true or false. You can see in the slide, we have this definition. I also give you another definition which is also correct. Okay. If in the exam, I ask you to declare a method is even, which can find out if a int number is even or not. So you can write this one, okay, in the slide. Or the one I write in the in this Word document, either one is fully correct. Either one is fully correct. Okay. So using the modulus operator in Boolean expression, the modulus operator can be used to determine if a whole number is odd or even. For example, number modulus 2, if it is 0, so number is even is true, else number is even equals false. Okay, equals false. You see, we can also use switch, right? We can also use switch structure to accomplish this objective. So we have number modulus 2, right? So the input for the switch will be number modulus 2. As we have analyzed, right? So among number modulus 2, there are only two possibilities. The first one is 0. The second one is 1. Okay? The first one is 0. The second one is 1. So we have case 0. We have case 1. Okay? The case number has to be able to match the input. Okay? In this case, the only two possibilities of the input is 0 and 1. So we have two cases, case 0 and case 1. So number is even equals true. Don't forget, you need a break. Case 1, number is even equals false, break. What is this break? We have learned this break will break the case. For example, if number is 10, right? 10 modulus 2 is 0. There is no remainder. So it is 0. So for case 0, we do number is even is true. When C# sees a break, right? C# will stop there, jump out the switch structure. It means anything in case 1 will not be considered, okay? It will jump out, okay? So when you use the switch structure, okay, first, you have to be careful. The input has to be able to match the case number. The second thing is, do not forget, we need to use the break. Okay, we need to use the break. Okay. So there are only two possible outcomes, 0 and 1. Okay, 0 and 1. So if you need to do, for example, number modulus, right? Number modulus 3, right? For 2, there are only two possibilities. For 3, there will be 3 possibilities, right? For example, we have 15 modulus 3 equals 0, right? It is 0. It is case 1, okay? Case 1. So for the second case, for example, we have 10 modulus 3, right? 3 times 3 is 9. So 10 modulus 3, the remainder equals what? Equals 1, okay? It is 1, okay? The third case will be for 11, right? Modulus 3, the remainder will be 2, okay? Why you want to consider modulus 3, okay? So you will have 3 different cases, okay? You have to be very clear about all the basic concepts we learned in this course. Why? Because in this course, we have selected important concepts which are true for almost all advanced programming languages. It means if you are clear, 100% clear about those concepts in C#, you will have no problem for similar concepts in Python. You will have no problem for similar concepts in C++, okay? So you may feel, if it's the first time for you to learn computer programming, you may feel that, oh, it is technical, it is not easy, it is difficult. So for each chapter, I have to spend a lot of time on the materials. It is normal, it is okay, to be honest. But when you go through, when you finish this process, let's assume, right? Let's assume. So you got a very nice grade. You learn a lot from this course, okay? In this semester. Next semester, you take a Python programming class, okay? Or you want to learn Python programming by yourself. Let's assume you want to do this. When you find a Python programming book, you open the book, you will find, oh, everything in the Python programming book is quite similar as what we have learned in C#, okay, in C#. So you can go through the whole book very quickly because only the format, keyword, those small things may be different. Everything else are quite similar. Quite similar, okay? That is why I emphasize you have to be very clear about these concepts, okay, in C#, because even though we are focusing on one specific programming language, these concepts are actually true for almost all the other programming languages, okay, all the other programming languages, okay? So this is a string returning method, okay? You can see that. So private string full name, we have string first, string middle, string last, okay? It can return first plus space, plus middle, plus space, plus last. So when we use plus for strings, we do string concatenation, okay? So a sample method call statement is, we have full name, which is following Pascal case. So for this method, we have 3 arguments. First, middle, last. We put the 3 different names. And it will return the full name of the input, So this is one example. Example one, if we have defined the method show max, okay? We have to show tax, okay? Decimal tax rate. So we like to return price times tax rate. So what is the returned? When we execute the following statements, we have decimal tax. Tax is 100.0. We use 7%, okay? We plug default value. Or we set up is 9%, okay? We get 9.0 M, okay? So this is pretty much for today. So on Wednesday, we are going to finish the whole chapter. Also, lab 4 is available on Canvas, okay? You can start to work on the lab, okay? So we have, including lab 4, we have 3 more labs and 2 more assignments and 1 final exam, which is a lot, to be honest, which is a lot for the second half of the semester. Why? Because you only have 5 to 6 weeks to finish all the things. Secondly, because we are in the second half of the semester, you may have a lot of other things to do, right? For other courses, course project, course report, okay? You have other things to do. As I mentioned last week, the challenging part of the second half of the semester is not because the materials are difficult. It is because at first you may lose motivation. Secondly, you are busy. Okay, this is the challenging part of the second half of the semester. Okay, the semester. Okay.